Hi, this is Sue Jackson of the Book by Book blog, and today, as you can see, I've traded my usual book mug for a Mardi Gras cup because I want to help spread the word about the Mardi Gras Readathon. This is being hosted by Kat's Novel Adventures and Laurie at Books, Ink, and Paper. I guess this is an event that they've done before, but this is the first time I've heard about it. And when I saw this video on Kat's channel, I knew that I had to do it myself and tell you about it because this is wonderful. We used to live in New Orleans and we love celebrating Mardi Gras, and I love reading books about New Orleans, so this is perfect. So I wanted to help them spread the word and let you know about this really fun seasonal readathon. So it's already started. You may not realize this, but Mardi Gras season actually begins on January 6th every year. It's kind of a short season this year because Mardi Gras Day this year is February 13th. That is a Tuesday, of course, Fat Tuesday. It's always the day before Ash Wednesday. So it always starts January 6th, but sometimes it can go all the way into March. So this is a fairly short season, so I wanted to tell you about it. Don't normally get my beads and decorations out until closer to Mardi Gras Day, but I wanted to tell you all about it. This is, by the way, an authentic Mardi Gras cup. We have quite a few of them. I actually caught this in a Mardi Gras parade. That is the unusual thing about Mardi Gras parades. People throw stuff and you catch it, like beads and cups and frisbees and all kinds of fun stuff. People who bring their kids up in New Orleans and then move away, I've heard friends tell me this. The first time they took their kids to a non-New Orleans parade, they were like, "You just watch?" This readathon sounds like a lot of fun. They've got a bingo card with all the reading prompts on it. You can go to either Kat's or Laurie's channels to print that out for yourself. I'll include their links down below. Now, every year on my book blog, I post a Mardi Gras. That's my book blog. I put up a post for Mardi Gras every year that includes recommendations for books, TV, movies, foods, different ways that you can celebrate at home. So I will also link to that down below. For now, I'll link to last year's. I'll change it when I put this year's up. So I just wanted to go over some of my own book recommendations related to New Orleans or Louisiana or Mardi Gras so that you can join along with this really fun readathon. For starters, they've got a group read for the readathon, New Orleans Morning by Julie Smith. I actually had this one on my shelf already. My husband and I both read it, 25 or 30 years ago. Yeah, it's a 1990 release. I think we bought this and then both read it shortly after we left New Orleans and moved here in 1990. Hung on to it all these years because we both love reading books set in New Orleans. This is a mystery. So it should be really fun for you mystery lovers. It is set during Mardi Gras, so yeah, I plan to reread it between now and Mardi Gras, and am definitely looking forward to that. Some other great books set in or about Louisiana. First, for adults, The Crowning Glory of Calla Lily Ponder by Rebecca Wells. You may remember Rebecca Wells as the author of The Divine Secrets of the Yaya Sisterhood. Well, The Crowning Glory of Calla Lily Ponder is just as good as that was. It is funny, it is heartwarming, it's very moving. I listened to it on audio years ago, and it had me laughing out loud. At one point, I was sobbing. It is an excellent, outstanding audiobook. As soon as I finished it, I gave it to my mom. Just really great. She loved it too. I've got a nonfiction pick here that my husband and I both loved. Gumbo Tales, Finding My Place at the New Orleans Table by Sarah Rowan. Loved this book and ended up corresponding with the author for a while. It's all about the food of New Orleans. And if you've lived in New Orleans or you've even just visited, you know it is all about the food there. Just wonderful. She's got a different chapter for each dish that is endemic to the area. I mean, everything from gumbo to snowballs, to po' boys, to turducken. Yes, that's a thing. It's it's a chicken inside a duck inside a turkey. And some people in New Orleans do that for Thanksgiving. Crawfish, I mean, it's a wonderful, wonderful book. It's about the food, but it's also memoir about her. And as the subtitle says, finding her place at the New Orleans table. Highly recommend this. Another food-based memoir that takes place partly in New Orleans that I really enjoyed was Trail of Crumbs, Food, Love, and the Search for Home by Kim Suni. Now, this food memoir covers every place from France to Sweden to Korea. The author did grow up in New Orleans, so it is about a Korean American woman who was adopted by a couple in New Orleans. So she grows up in New Orleans. So the beginning is all about the food in New Orleans, and then she kind of goes off to discover her heritage. She goes to Korea, she visits France, and it's a wonderful, I think she ends up being a chef, which is why she wrote a food memoir. But if you love reading about good food and just a good memoir, that's a great one. And there is a chunk about New Orleans at the beginning. Another, if you like mysteries and suspense, Burn by Nevada Barr. I love the whole Nevada Barr series. Her books are about a national park ranger named Anna Pigeon. But this one is set in New Orleans. There is a National Historical Park in New Orleans. I haven't read this one yet. It was on my stack for Big Book Summer, and I just didn't get to it, but very much want to read it. I am definitely going to get to it this year. Just quick mention of a few middle grade and teen young adult books set in or about New Orleans and Louisiana. Ruined by Paula Morris. This was a really good spooky YA ghost story, which is perfect. So New Orleans was the perfect setting. The Freedom Maze by Delia Sherman. This is historical fiction for middle grade readers. It is with a little touch of time travel. It's about a modern day girl in Louisiana who goes through this maze in a garden and ends up back in 1860 Louisiana. So she is living in 1960 in Louisiana, ends up back 100 years when, of course, slavery was in place. So this was, I remember listening to this on audio and was just completely engrossed in it. Excellent historical fiction, but the time travel allows you to look at the history from a modern perspective. I always enjoy that. Zane and the Hurricane by Rodman Philbrick. This is a middle grade novel about Hurricane Katrina. Outstanding. Really, really well done. Difficult at times, of course, but the main character is wonderful, and it's about a middle grade aged kid who survives Katrina. And Out of the Easy by Ruta Sepetys. Ruta is very well known for her historical novels. And of course, many of you have probably read Salt to the Sea, Between Shades of Grey, these books, that just blew you away. So those were wartime books, as a lot of her novels have been. This one is set in New Orleans in the French Quarter in 1950 about a teen girl whose mother runs a brothel. And so that's how she's growing up. But she works in a bookstore. She's got a dream of breaking out of this world and going to college. It's rudicipitous. Her writing is just wonderful. I think it's an overlooked novel of hers, so be sure to check that one out. Just a quick mention of a few movies and TV shows, either set in New Orleans or Louisiana, that we've loved. The movie Chef, this is a wonderful, uplifting movie about a family with a food truck who travel from Miami to California. They go through New Orleans, of course. This movie is filled with food and music and travel. It's a road trip movie. It's a family movie. It was my top movie that I watched in 2015. So definitely recommend Chef. Older movies, the classic A Streetcar Named Desire is, of course, set in New Orleans. The Big Easy from the 80s. Funny story, when I was living in New Orleans when this movie came out, and I was out to dinner one night with a group of people, and some of them were native New Orleanians, and one guy was ranting about how horrible the movie was and how fake Dennis Quaid's accent sounded. But his rant sounded exactly like Dennis Quaid in the movie. I thought the accent was pretty spot on. So it's a fun movie. If you've never seen it, definitely. It's an older movie, but it's still a good one. On TV, believe it or not, NCIS New Orleans is filmed in part in New Orleans, and my son and I really enjoyed watching it because of all the street scenes, and there are episodes set during Mardi Gras which are really fun to watch. It's an NCIS, it's part of that group of shows, so it is a crime show, but there is lots of really fun glimpses of the city and the surrounding areas. There's a lot of music in it, food, so that's fun to watch. Entourage, the ultimate TV show about New Orleans, outstanding show. Whether you're familiar with New Orleans or not, it's a great show, and it just gives you this slice of life from all these different characters' perspectives. Wildly different characters, a musician, a chef, a college professor, all different kinds of people living in this one section of New Orleans, Treme, and their lives. It's a wonderful show. That's an HBO show, so these days you can find it on Max, I think maybe Hulu as well. So lots of suggestions for you if you want to join the fun with the Mardi Gras Readathon. Check out Kat's or Laurie's YouTube channels for more information, but I highly recommend joining the fun here. You don't need to read for Mardi Gras all month. It's just about, I'm probably going to read 2 books, the New Orleans Morning, and not everything you read for the channel has to be set in New Orleans or Louisiana. As you can see, there are some sort of generic categories: music, food, set in France. I plan to read a memoir by MFK Fisher, which will cover both France and food. So join the fun. Let me know in the comments down below if you plan to participate in the Mardi Gras Readathon, or if you have your own recommendations for books, TV, or movies set in New Orleans. And check out my blog post that I'll link to down below, because it also has links to websites where you can watch the parades live during the season. The parades are mostly the last 2 weeks of Mardi Gras season. Some links to recipes, some of my own recipes that I wrote for Family Fun magazine that our own family loves, as well as other ways you can enjoy the Mardi Gras season through food. So check that out too.